northeast region of Kenya, farmers were wondering what food shortage the government is talking about. The cereal farmers say they have produced plenty of food which they can hardly sell due to exploitative maize and wheat prices. As KTN's Elvis Koske reports from Uasin Gishu County, the farmers have announced they will stage a major protest on Monday if the government fails to intervene and address their challenges.
One David Songok takes us around his farm and says the government has insensitively subjected farmers to the worst season of all time and was doing less to address their plight. According to Songok, it is ironical that 1.3 million Kenyans are affected by drought, with Kilifi, Tana River, Marsabit counties being among the 23 worst hit counties. Yet they have plenty of maize in Uasin Gishu County and neighboring counties. A section of farmers in North Rift region now claim the government lacks a coherent strategy to address perennial challenges that have impoverished many residents that fully dependent on either maize or wheat production, while enriching exploitative middlemen who purchase farm produce at very low prices.
Na sisi watu ya Rift Valley tunapata mvua ya kutosha, tunapata chakula mingi. Lakini shida ni moja, ni serikali kuu kukataa kununua mahindi kwa bei yenye inaweza kusaidia mkulima.
Analala wiki moja na ungao analeta Eldoret kwa mwaga. Sasa hakuna mtu na mwaga. Analala nje. Sasa mkulima anaumia.
According to the regional manager, Mr. Joseph Tuwei, the North Rift Depot will officially open on Monday, where wheat will go at 3,000 shillings at 90 kg bag, where maize will be sold at 2,300. This comes amid protest or planned protest where farmers from Uasin Gishu region will hold a major protest in Eldoret town.
We are open. We started, our stores were open from 21st of last month, September. But as I told you, we have not received any maize into our stores. We expect, if the situation becomes bad, we expect the SFR committee to probably review the prices. Yes.
Tumeambiwa hapa kuna ngano inaletwa kutoka nje inakuja na matrela, na tulikuwa tumekubaliana kuwa lazima ngano ichukuliwe kwanza local wamalize ndio wakubaliwe.
But the farmers allege there is more than meets the eye. For the North Rift farmers, it is a big joke that Treasury Cabinet Secretary Henry Rotich says the cost of drought intervention is not known, even as he sets aside 254 million shillings for intervention. Elvis Kosgei, KTN News, in Uasin Gishu County.
Interesting contrast there. And of course, that story leads us to our big question this evening. And we're asking you, do you believe that Kenya is not capable of storing enough food to feed citizens during drought? Do you believe that Kenya is incapable of storing enough food to feed its citizens during drought? Would like to hear your thoughts on it. You know the drill. Tweet me at Betty Kyalo, or you can also choose to use the hashtag Friday Briefing, or you can also text me. The number is 22155, and then I'll be tracking your responses throughout the show. Now, the burial of former MP Wavinya Ndeti's husband turned chaotic as Nairobi Senator Mike Sonko exchanged insults with mourners. Sonko got angry when the master of ceremony tried to cut short his speech and let loose several unprintable words in the presence of court leaders Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Moses Wetangula. The burial was being held at Kinanie, Machakos County, and Sonko, who had shown up earlier than others, demanded to speak after the three court leaders, triggering the face-off with mourners and Wiper supporters. When things got out of hand, the three court co-principals fled before the burial ended.
Atikao itasambaratika, Kalonzo atatoka na watu yake, Weta atatoka, Raila anaenda peke yake, naambia hao ng'oo.
Because of time, kindly, Hapo nikitoka tuone nani ni nani. Hana shida mimi. Takataka na sia nyinyi. Ndio wamekaa wasikuletee. Kwendeni kabisa huko. Kwenda kabisa. Kwenda kabisa.
On the other side of the political divide, Deputy President William Ruto today criticized political figures from his Rift Valley political backyard for what he termed as political sabotage. While speaking at Kabarinat Boys High School grounds, Ruto said he had already poached several elected leaders from Western, Kisii and coastal regions to join Jubilee Party because, being former President Daniel Arap Moi's political student, he believes bringing Kenyans together was the only way to of course, peaceful and prosperous nation.
Na saa hiyo wakati mimi naongea, mimi ni Deputy President ya Kenya. Kuna watu wengine ati wameenda kotini, ati kwenda kuzuia ati hii college isibadilishwe iwe university. Mimi nataka niwaulize, kwa sababu ni mandugu zetu, hiyo mchezo wawache. Tunataka siasa ambayo itaunganisha Wakenya wote. Watu wa kutoka sehemu zote za Kenya, watu wa kutoka jamii zote za Kenya, tuungane kama ndugu moja, watu wa taifa moja, walioumbwa na Mungu mmoja, watu wa Kenya. That is our commitment.
The Committee of the Orange Democratic Movement, ODM, today grilled 3 governors and 7 members of parliament, asking them to show cause why they should not be deregistered from the party. The politicians are accused of supporting President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jubilee Party of Kenya. The ODM Disciplinary Committee assured those who appeared before it of fair hearings. Patrick Amimo tells us more.
9 members of ODM appeared before the disciplinary committee. They included Marsabit County Governor Okoth Yatani, Kwale Governor Salim Mvurya, and Kisii County Deputy Governor Joash Maangi. Others were Kwale County Woman MP Zainabu Chizuga, Igembe Central MP Cyprian Kubai, Sirisia MP John Waluke, Nakuru Town West MP Samuel Arama, Mathare MP Stephen Kariuki, and nominated MP Isaac Mwaura. They were all agreed they will defend their seats on Jubilee Party of Kenya in the coming polls, but denied having defected from ODM.
I want you to challenge me where on a single day that I've shared a platform and castigated ODM. Never. I have never gone public to say that I'm defecting. I've never gone public to condemn the party.
We were introduced as friends of the party who came there as anybody else. We had even some foreigners who are there. We had even white people who are there. Did they become Jubilee because they were in that field?
There was also in attendance the Secretary General of the Party of the People, Chinese Party. Communist Party. I don't think it defected, did it?
The Kwale governor wanted Mishi Mboko disqualified, claiming she has been campaigning against him since he joined hands with Jubilee.
Part of the speeches that she made was to demean my leadership and also to castigate this committee as a formality.
Said you have defected and you are going to work with the Jubilee and you tell the Kwale people to work for the Jubilee. So as a politician, as a member of the ODM, I have to talk in the public rallies, but this is a different process. And he cannot bar me from sitting here.
The Marsabit governor said political parties are not a priority in northern Kenya communities. He says peace and security was key and that clan elders will determine political destiny through negotiated democracy.
I've seen a few people who really love the party but who feel they have been frustrated by certain actions or inactions of the party itself. These are areas we're going to address.
Even if they bring a by-election tomorrow, I'm ready to deliver the seat.
If they reach a decision to expel my clients, it must go to the National Governing Council for ratification. That ratification will require 2/3 of the members. Whatever decision they reach, if they reach a decision to expel them, they also have a right to appeal to a special session of the National Governing Council, a special session.
The disciplinary committee will continue sitting next week to grill more leaders, including members of county assemblies. Patrick Amimo, KTN News.
Now, even as the top politicians fight to stay united and agree on a flag bearer, it turns out that not enough Kenyans are registering to vote for them in 2017. A report released by Information, an independent election observer organization, has raised concern about the state of voter registration in Kenya based on what it terms as a crisis in issuance of national cards, identification cards. The report notes that residents from counties outside Nairobi and the central region can go up to a year without receiving their national IDs, even though IDs are a requirement to be registered as a voter. Timothy Etieno brings us that story.
The election season is fast approaching, and politicians are keen on not only ensuring they bought the correct political vehicle that will secure them a win come August the 8th next year, but also that their supporters will come out in droves to vote them into office. But the political class's latter dream may not pan out as envisioned if the latest report by election watch organization Inform Action is anything to go by. The group states that issuance of national identification cards is hindering the process of voter registration ahead of the 2017 polls, and the once overlooked issue could pan out to be a serious crisis if not dealt with. According to the report, the National Registration Bureau has failed to issue a majority of Kenyans with identification cards, even though most applied for them more than a year ago. The report highlights the percentage of voting age population registered in Kenya's counties at only 39% in Turkana County, 26% in Mandera County, and 41% in Wajir, and now the issuance of IDs or lack thereof may only play to hurt next year's general elections.
It's so sad to see at this era and at this time, we're still passing through such challenges in this country.
This should cease to happen. Stop categorizing Kenyans. We really, sometimes we ask ourselves, do we really have independence? The mentality of the colonialism is still here.
Perhaps the claim supported by the fact that the voter registration exercise conducted by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission earlier this year did not meet its expected target. During phase 1 of the exercise, only 1.4 million Kenyans were registered, way below the 4.1 million anticipated, even though the commission blamed the slack exercise on lack of resources.
They haven't had an increase in their budget for years. If anything, their budget has been decreasing, while our police budget is increasing, while our military budget is increasing, while our NSIS budget is increasing.
Currently, more than 14 million Kenyans are registered as voters, with the IEBC hoping that by May next year, 25 million Kenyans will form the country's voter registry. The Election Watch Group recommends more funding to the Ministry of Interior to ensure more IDs are churned out so that Kenyans eligible to vote can exercise their democratic rights. It's certainly not the first time such a report highlighting ethnic and regional discrepancies, especially when it comes to issuance of national identification cards, is being released to the public, which then begs the question, will this time the recommendations highlighted be followed to the latter by the relevant bodies? Timothy Otieno, KTN News.
Now, the Kenya Defense Forces will remain in Somalia until meaningful peace and stability is realized in the war-torn country. Well, these were the statements from the Cabinet Secretary for Defense, Rachel Omamo, and the Chief of the Defense Forces, Major General Samson Mwatete, as Kenya honored the soldiers who have fallen in war against the Al-Shabaab in Somalia. Well, KTN News Coast reporter Francis Antoma was at Mtongwe Naval Base, where the KDF Day was marked.
The undying spirit of the Kenyan gallant soldiers was displayed today as the Kenya Defense Forces took a moment to reflect on a 5-year journey since the Somalia incursion. A memorial service for the fallen soldiers kicked off events. Defense Cabinet Secretary Rachel Omamo leading the somber service. Setbacks may have followed the entry into Somalia, but there is no plan to quit. And to join hands in the global fight, the Chinese government donated special equipment to the African Union troops, donations that included vehicles and field accompaniments. The African Union now says it has its eyes fixed on the upcoming Somalia general elections. 6,000 Kenyan soldiers are involved in the missions outside the country, and deliberate efforts to bolster their capacity have been initiated. 5 years and still counting, the Kenyan Defense Forces went into Somalia, and they are saying they are still keeping on with the fight, even despite a splitting debate on whether they should remain in the mission.
We shall continue to put our lives online first, ready at all times to pay the ultimate price for the defense of our country.
Today's commemorations brought together friends and relatives, with many hoping that the state will divulge details on the number of soldiers who perished in the deadly El Ade attack in Somalia. But this was not going to be.
The past 4 years, our troops serving under AMISOM have liberated more than 20 towns in their area of responsibility in Somalia, and have also destroyed several Al-Shabaab camps and training areas.
Kenya has in the past threatened to pull out its troops from Somalia over funding gaps by the international community. President Uhuru Kenyatta has severally called for the United Nations to up their contribution in order to strengthen the fight.
We remain united with those currently in Somalia, those in South Sudan, and elsewhere in search of peace and security.
The discourses on repatriation of Somali refugees, regional security, and the wider Somalia stabilization plan remain a top priority for Kenya. Francis Ntomwa, KTN News, Mombasa.
Welcome back to Friday Briefing. Thank you so much for staying with us. Well, it's time for our guest anchor segment, Governor Kenneth Lusaka, Governor for Bungoma County, where we are coming to you live from. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Welcome.
All right. So first things first, we're talking about what's good in Bungoma County, and you have been quite busy of late,
Yes.
launching projects. But one interesting thing that you have been working on is that Alcohol and Beverages Act.
Right.
You basically trying to legalize busa.
Yes.
How?
Thank you very much. First, let me welcome you to Bungoma.
Yeah, thank you.
That is an act that is very well thought of. And I want to talk as somebody who has been a practitioner. If you look at
in the busa,
not busa,
just on a light note, yeah.
Provincial administrator.
Okay.
I worked as a DO and became the first secretary of provincial administration before eventually becoming a PS in livestock. And all the years I was a district officer, DC,
right.
We fought busa, what we're calling the illicit brew. Of course, Changa is in another class.
Yes.
But we're talking about busa. We fought it, we sacked chiefs, we went before cameras, poured the alcohol. 20 years after I have left.
So you vividly remember calling us, the media, come cover us,
yes,
as we pour.
Cover us as we pour busa.
Yeah.
20 years after we did that, busa is still being drunk, busa is still being prepared behind, the backs of people in very unhealthy circumstances. So my take and the take of even the Assembly of Bungoma and myself as the CEO was that we can't keep doing the same things the same way and expect different results. Something must be wrong. And that's why we say, why don't we come up with regulations of how busa can be taken? And we said, we want to look at, first of all, the standards. What is the quality of the busa being taken so that it's cleared, whoever is going to prepare that is cleared by the Bureau of Standards, have designated places where it can be taken, have the time when it should be taken, if it's between 2 and 6, when people have gone to work and all that. We are not saying people should just be drunkards and continue drinking. And we are saying that because when we were looking at other countries, you go to Uganda, we have what we call Uganda Waragi. You go to Tanzania, we have what we call Konyagi.
Okay.
These are local brews that have been properly done and people take in hygiene situations, environment.
Okay.
This is what our act seeks to address. The regulations we are putting in place seek to address that so that people, because a magistrate finds an old lady 10,000 shillings because she was found taking busa. In the evening, the same magistrate is taking Jack Daniels or Black Label in a bar.
Yes, so you're trying to equalize the situation for everybody.
There's no civilized drunkardness. A drunkard is just a drunkard. If you fall in a mutaro, you fall in a mutaro because you are drunk. So we are saying these are vulnerable people. And we must also take care of the people who are vulnerable. What we just check is the standard, make sure that the timing and all that.
Because that's important, because I mean, one of the issues is the health conditions in which this busa is made.
Yes. We are not advocating for those, the third generation drinks that people take and get blind. In fact, nobody has ever, in my memory, if my memory serves me right, nobody has ever died because of taking busa unless they have put poison. This is like just porridge. It's just like food, which people take. And in fact, if somebody is hungry and he takes busa, you'll get satisfied, you'll just get a bit tipsy, but you'll be satisfied. So we are saying, the PS for Interior was here. He's my friend, I don't want to contradict him, I don't want us to enter into unhelpful discussions. But we are saying, let us change tact. If we are going to approach eradication of illicit brew the way we did when I was at DO in 1989, 1990, we are going to get it wrong. We are going just to get policemen harassing innocent Mwanainji, chasing them like antelopes. People change tact, they will go to maize plantations and take busa and run away. So what we are saying is that let us regulate it, let us have it done in a good environment so that people can also comfortably take it and enjoy, like somebody is taking a Jack Daniel and watching this news right now.
Okay, well, interesting. So I want us to proceed to another issue, which really, I've gotten so many people asking on my Twitter handle, and of course it's the wheelbarrows. Another time that, this busa thing maybe is going to put Bungoma, in the headlines, but another thing that did previously is the 100,000 shillings wheelbarrows.
Right.
First of all, the last thing where that conversation was left at is that you're conducting investigations into that. What is the report about that?
Let me put this into perspective.
Right.
First of all, the person who came up with the idea of wheelbarrows costing 109 was myself. I ordered an internal audit just to check how ministries were operating. So when I saw that a wheelbarrow was costing 109, I was also curious, just like anybody would be curious in Kenya and in the world. So I asked the Ministry of Livestock, the Ministry of Agriculture, to provide me with information. And they gave me information that, one, the idea of making wheelbarrows of that nature came from the national government, which is in charge of standards and policy. And they were saying, and I can also tell you that for a fact, having been a PS in the Ministry of Livestock Development, that if you want to export any meat, and we have a chicken slaughterhouse in Chile, which is going to export chicken. If you want to export any meal from there, then you must use material that is not ordinary. That's why we're talking about the non-carcinogenic material.
So just explain to us what is special about this wheelbarrow.
It is not. The material that is used is material that will not rust, and you don't want to put your meat or any meat stuff on something that rusts. The moment you do that, FAO will never allow you to export any meat to any part of this world. So what happened, this thing assumed a political angle. People went and bought ordinary wheelbarrows and were running with them all over the place saying, now this is a wheelbarrow that Bungoma has bought. I'm not a mad person. We had just bought wheelbarrows at 5,000, 3,000, 4,000, which were used to collect rubbish. So what that means is just a food trolley.
But 5,000 is also quite on the higher side for...
No, I'm saying, no, if I'm just talking about an ordinary wheelbarrow. It could be 2,000 or 1,000, but I'm differentiating. That the material that is used for that particular wheelbarrow or food trolley is what really matters. Just like the aluminium, how much does it cost to buy a milk can that you put milk? It's over 30,000 because of the material that's used. But this thing assumed a political angle. People are running all over, and I said, now, if that is the idea, first, let's get ESCC, let's get people to come and investigate. We are waiting for a report to come and tell us exactly what they have found out. So as we speak, it is still under investigation.
But the other thing about this particular project, the chicken, the slaughterhouse, is that there are critics who are saying that it has not taken off. It has been months. The wheelbarrows and other, of course, resources have been put in place, but this thing has not taken off.
There are people who will never see anything positive. You tell him this glass is half full, he says it's half empty. That person, you cannot convince him whether we went and tested the slaughterhouse. By the way, that was my brainchild when I was a PS in the Ministry of Livestock, because I knew Western Kenya, chicken rearing is something that is done naturally. And I said, let me put there something that the people of Western, the people of Bungoma will invest in a cheaper, in an easy way. So we went, it has been running. First of all, it was a national government. When we took over as a county government, we have also injected funds there. And as we speak, it's 90% complete. You can go there and see. The machines have been tested, it's running. All we are telling our people is now to keep chicken. But you know, people want to criticize everything you do. That is why the poverty index is still at 53%. Because you're asking now, the governor has brought us a slaughter. Where shall we get chicken?
All right.
We want our people to be employed. We are saying, first of all, get your things right.
Okay.
Go and form groups, rear chicken, and take there. There's now a market. Because what used to happen in the past, a mother moves around with chicken from morning to evening. Nobody buys it. She goes home. She ends up eating the chicken, and she's tired. It's a double tragedy. Now we're saying here is a market for the chicken which you can take there. Yours will be production.
Right.
Somebody else is going to do the marketing for you.
I'm sure that the Bungoma residents who are watching, they're wondering when is it going to take off. I mean, today at least you said that in 30 days, fund paper is going to be up and running. But for this specific project, because like you'd mentioned, it would really provide financial cushion for so many families who are watching and they're wondering when is this thing going to start?
It would be safe to say before the end of the year, by Christmas time, everything will be done. Because what is remaining are just minor things, landscaping and all that. And you see, we're also not going to run it as a county government. It's not our business to slaughter chicken and sell. We have a PPP. We have a private partner who is going to run it on behalf of the county government. And so, of course, I'm understanding we're going to sign an MOU.
All right.
So everything is ready. Once everything is signed, my bet is that before Christmas, it should be up and running because everything is set. We went there when we were commissioning the machines. People were there and they ate chicken which had been slaughtered there, and they could see how it was working. And we just want to make sure that everything is right. We meet the sanitary standards because that must also is an aspect that we must put in place.
All right. Yeah. So with all the projects that you seem to be busy. What is the one thing that you can proudly say that you began right from the time you took office, and now the elections is just about 9 months away, that you can proudly say that this is what I've been able to offer people of Bungoma County?
One, when I took over as the governor, one issue that I put in mind, and if you look at my manifesto, was to have a united county. Bungoma is a cosmopolitan county, and I say my political pillar will be to ensure that everybody who is in this county, whether you are a Sabot, a Bukusu, Tachoni, Teso, or Mutura, you are part of that government. That's why I picked my deputy from Mount Elgon. So there has been that stability. In the past, there's been runs, between the communities here, but now there's stability. When you come to infrastructure, when I took over this Bungoma town that you are moving around, the good roads that you see now were not there. They were full of potholes. People were planning to plant bananas every day. We have done that. We have done the street lights. We've done most of our urban roads. If you go to Kimilili, they do not have tarmac. As we speak now, even we are upgrading the roads. The rural roads, we have done more than 168 rural roads. Of course, because of rains and El Nino, some of them have been damaged.
Okay.
In the health sector, we are also refurbishing our hospital, Bungoma Hospital. When I took over, we had a challenge of the theater. We didn't have beds. We didn't have even dialysis machine. We meet the sanitary standards because that must also is an aspect that we must put in place.
All right. Yeah. So with all the projects that you seem to be busy, what is the one thing that you can proudly say that you began right from the time you took office, and now the elections is just about 9 months away, that you can proudly say that this is what I've been able to offer people of Bungoma County?
One, when I took over as the governor, one issue that I put in mind, and if you look at my manifesto, was to have a united county. Bungoma is a cosmopolitan county. And I say my political pillar will be to ensure that everybody who is in this county, whether you are a Sabot, a Bukusu, Tachoni, Teso, or Mutura, you are part of that government. That's why I picked my deputy from Mount Elgon. So there has been that stability. In the past, there's been runs between the communities here, but now there's stability. When you come to infrastructure, when I took over this Bungoma town that you are moving around, the good roads that you see now were not there. They were full of potholes. People were planning to plant bananas every day. We have done that. We have done the street lights. We've done most of our urban roads. If you go to Kimilili, they do not have tarmac. As we speak now, even we are upgrading the roads. The rural roads, we have done more than 168 rural roads. Of course, because of rains and El Nino, Some of them have been damaged.
Okay.
In the health sector, we are also refurbishing our hospital, Bungoma Hospital. When I took over, we had a challenge of, the theater. We didn't have beds. We didn't have even dialysis machine. These things are now there.
Okay.
But another significant thing that I want to mention is a high altitude training center in a place called Chemoge in Mount Elgon. It's going to be the biggest, phase 1 is ready. It's going to be the biggest facility in the country and in fact in the region, because it's a hybrid of Kaptagat and E10.
Okay.
And we also have very good athletes from Mount Elgon, and that is going to take care of, going to be an income generating project.
All right, interesting. Now we need to go to, some bit of politics, because the projects that you're talking about, I'm sure some of them will need you to be present for a second term.
Right.
But now that you changed your outfit, evidently, and your party, do you think that, with Western Kenya warming up to the opposition very, very hard, do you think that you're going to have that second chance?
Of course, I'm very confident. I'm not a fool. One thing that I know is that I'm not a fool. And
what does that mean?
It means that decisions that I make are decisions that are well informed.
And this decision was well informed.
It was consultative, because even when I came to run in 2013, when I joined New Ford Kenya, I was told that was a wrong move. Some people wanted me to go to ODM. Some people wanted me to go to Ford Kenya. Luckily, Bungoma people voted for me, not because of the party. And what I also want to say is that it's not the uniform you are wearing that matters. It is how you play. If you are a good player, you can even score when you are naked.
But in Kenya, it has, it's proven that
in
it's
Bungoma,
sometimes
but I'm telling you about Bungoma. We have 11 political parties in our county assembly. We have the majority we have the majority in our county assembly in Bungoma and Trans Nzoia when we were New Ford Kenya. Ford Kenya is in fact number 3. ODM is number 2. So what that tells you, the many political parties in Bungoma, is sometimes people look not at parties, they look at personalities. What is it you can deliver as a person? And that is going to be very, very important. But we're also saying, of course, when you join a new outfit, people will be anxious, people will be suspicious, and tell me which party originated in Bungoma. For example, Ford Kenya came and found Kanu. When Ford Kenya was being formed, Kanu was the dominant party. New Ford Kenya was a breakaway from Ford Kenya. And when New Ford Kenya was formed, people were skeptical. They said, no, that's a big mistake. Should not have made that. So all that we need to do is to explain to our people. And by the way, some of the greatest proponents of Ford Kenya now were the greatest opponents of Ford Kenya then. They were in Kanu. And they were saying now, in fact, I remember one time my senator in some funeral said, was advising the people of Bungoma not to go to those tribal parties, but to join a bigger party because it was in Kanu.
Okay, okay.
So we are saying, it's the way we talk to our people.
All right.
We are going to explain why do I think Jubilee is the way to go.
All right. We'll continue with this conversation in a short while, but for now, though, I would just want to get a very brief comment. Your Senator Moses Wetangula is, trying to bid for the presidency. What do you think his chances are?
The chances, one, are very remote.
Okay.
It will depend. If he's going to be the flag bearer, of course his chances will increase. But again, it's also not likely that you can just transfer loyalty, because Raila Odinga has followers, and all those followers will automatically become Wetangula's followers. Politics sometimes doesn't work like that. I've talked to colleagues who are saying, if Raila does not run, then they will even go to Jubilee.
All right.
So you cannot assume that you are going to transfer loyalty, all your followers, to follow this one because they have said this one should.
So you're saying that his chances are slim?
Are very slim.
Actually, very slim.
Yeah, to be very, very, very honest.
To be very honest.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. So we'll continue with the conversation with Governor Lusaka. Send in your questions if you have any, #Friday Briefing. But for now, though, the other reason that you're here is to read for Kenyans the news. So I want you to turn and face the camera. Can see clearly?
Yes.
Yeah? There you go. So I want you to introduce yourself. And then let's see if in case, after the second term, if you're not able to get something else, you'll be a news anchor at KTN.
Okay, my name is Kenneth Lusaka, bringing you news from Sikata, Bungoma. Talochan Limited, the company that purchased the Webuye and paper mills earlier this year, says the plant will be up and running in the next 30 days. The plant, which closed down in 2008 over accumulation of debts, is expected to create 1,500 new jobs.
Western Kenya industrial giant. Finally, there's a sign of a white smoke from the Webuye pan paper mills.
We have also seen the paper machines. They have done the trials, the trial running, and we are very confident that this should be able to be operational maybe by the end of the month.
The very first phase is to bring back quickly the light back to the mill. That would entail restarting production on one paper machine, while we work on the project to build a new recovery boiler and a new pulp mill.
The plant was in May this year, sold to Talochan Limited, a subsidiary of the Rai Group of companies, at a cost of 900 million shillings, with a promise to pump in 6 billion shillings to revive the plant back to full operation. The investor says the plant will create over 1,500 new jobs.
Parallel to that, we are also looking at opening up opportunities for fresh graduates, fresh diploma holders, fresh school leavers, so that we can build up the team for the next generation.
I don't think that President Uhuru Kenyatta or myself in Jubilee would want just to gain a political mileage out of this. That is not going to happen. But if we gain, so be it. But what is most important is that it's going to work, it's going to create employment for about 1,500 people of this region, and it's going to spur the economic growth, the economy of this area which had completely collapsed.
Across Bungoma County, residents are optimistic that their once key source of livelihood will soon be up and running.
Kampuni kama pan paper ikifunguliwa, iko manufaa kwa sisi wafanyabiashara na town pia ita expand, because kampuni zikiwa kwa town ama kwa mji, kuna ajira, kuna circulation of money ikiwa sawa sawa.
Itakuwa na manufaa sisi wakaaji wa Webuye, manake biashara ilirudi chini tangu hicho kiwanda kifungwe. Circulation ya pesa hakuna. Kikifunguliwa, at least business itainuka.
Tujue terms of service, mshahara gani, kwa sababu sasa mshahara tulikuwa nayo ni almost 10 years ago. Uwezi kujua mwenye amenunua hata kuandika na mshahara wa pesa. So many factors determine watu kurudi huko.
Although used for many years by previous regimes as a key political bargaining chip, the hope for the residents of Bungoma is that the plant will finally be fully operational to create the jobs for not only the residents here but Kenyans from other parts of the country. Muremi Mwangi, KTN News in Bungoma.
All right. Thank you so much, Muremi, for that story. I think, let me rate you, Governor. I think you did really well.
Thank you.
It's only that at the end you forgot to mention the name of the reporter, Muremi Mwangi.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, the message was passed.
Right.
So I think I'm going to give you a 7 out of 10. That's not too bad.
Thank you for keeping it KTN News. Let's now take a look at business here in Nairobi. My name is Joy Doreen Bira, and Kenya has moved to bring Islamic finance into the mainstream of the economy after the National Treasury and Capital Markets Authority launched the Islamic Finance Project Management Office. The office will oversee the development of a framework to give guidance on Islamic finance and banking in the country. This will, among other things, see the structuring of the National Sharia Supervisory Board. While Kenya is ranked second largest among countries in Africa with Tafakkur Insurance, the country is yet to add its name to the list of countries with a fully fledged Sharia governance framework. During the launch of the Islamic Finance Project Management Office, players in the finance sector said that the opportunities are vast, but there is little knowledge of how exactly Islamic finance works.
Another major misconception is that interest-free means free of cost. And it's not, again, because it's not the purpose. It's not a charity, it's finance. So it has to be, coming at a cost, but that cost is not charged in the same way as in conventional.
The Capital Markets Authority describes Islamic finance as a young market with space to provide diversified instruments to improve financial access. So just why has Kenya been slow in picking up the concept of Islamic finance? Is it about ethics or compliance to the Sharia law obligations, or all of the above?
The biggest outstanding questions and why we saw such a critical need to accelerate this work was as those different businesses grow, there'll always be that issue of liquidity management. And how are we going to ensure that as these pools of money increase, that they will have an effective and operational place to go?
Instead of just jumping onto conclusions, we are actually building block by block, right? And we are laying foundations that we hope will be very solid. And this is, the purpose of this exercise.
A growing number of financial institutions in Kenya have introduced Islamic banking products, but still have to create more awareness of who is eligible to taking up Islamic banking products and services, one being the misconception that Islamic banking means only Muslims have access to this finance. Until these financial myths are dealt with, Islamic banking in Kenya will not gain much traction. Joy Doreen Bira, KTN News.
And looking at more business news, the government has issued a 30-day ultimatum to 3 independent power producers, that is IPPs, to start producing electricity from steam wells at the Menengai crater in Nakuru, or their contracts will be terminated. Now, speaking at Geothermal Development Company wellhead site in Menengai crater, Energy and Petroleum Cabinet Secretary Charles Keter said there was enough steam already drilled to add a total of 105 megawatts to the national grid. According to Keter, continued delays meant money and steam going to waste. The CS indicated that the Geothermal Development Company cannot expect funding much longer without showing proven results by generating power.
Also, taxpayers' money to fund that transmission line which will evacuate power from here. We've invested a lot of money in that.
IPPs are here, and we've given them the timelines to proceed. Because right now we've gotten everything. We've gotten the list of this place, because this place is under Kenya Forest Service. We have the list now.
Global leader in kitchen and bath plumbing products, Kola Africa is set to extend its footprint into Africa by opening up a showroom in Westlands, Kenya during the first quarter of 2017. Kola is a global leader in kitchen and bath products and has a legacy of over 143 years in innovation, bold designs, and a singular level of quality over a broad range of price points.
We always start with a partner. Right, we always start with somebody who's local, who understands the country and the culture. Then we also come in and try to learn as much as possible. And then we start with some important projects, really, and we bring in some of the key iconic product that has, for this market, some of the great technology.
We have a relatively modest target for next year. It's less than $1 million, but we certainly would love to be surprised and beat that one. But again, it's the first year. We want our partner to have an opportunity to do it gradually. And like we said earlier, this is not necessarily, okay, we're going to have to hit a certain plan. It's more important to have the infrastructure in place.
In a bid to appeal to a more feminine segment of the market, Kenya Brewers Limited has launched a new alcoholic beverage, Tusker Premium Cider. It is the first locally produced cider in East Africa and made in Kenya. Cider is an alcoholic drink made from fresh crushed apples. Speaking during the launch event in Nairobi, Kenya Brewers Limited's Managing Director Jane Karuku said the launch of Tusker Premium Cider is driven by the company's commitment to market-led innovation and the need to expand consumers' experience within the beverage alcohol market, a position echoed by KBL Marketing and Innovations Director Stephen Okili, who said the move is informed by positive socio-economic developments driving growth in the region, especially the emergence of millennials.
believe it or not, about 2/3 of total beverage alcohol drinking population and contribute about 54% of the total volume in Kenya.
This is another innovation and more to come in the next 12 months to just revitalize our business and to try and get you, the consumers, some exciting brands out of EABL.
Coffee farmers from the entire Mount Kenya region met at the Coffee Management Services premises in Karatina for the annual Coffee Field Day. Different stakeholders got an opportunity to showcase their products as they got a forum to engage coffee farmers and hear them out on the issues that have been ailing the coffee industry. Under the microscope, especially were the recent regulations released by the Ministry of Agriculture through the Agriculture, Fisheries and Food Authorities that will limit the number of millers and dealers. Coffee production in Kenya has been losing ground compared to other coffee-growing countries, and there is need to increase yields.
Poor governance sometimes in the cooperative sector. The ones we find we are rewarding here are the most efficient with the best corporate governance principles. They tend to retain sometimes up to 6% of whatever they receive from us. Hence, they pay the farmer at a higher price.
For me, of course, the prime thing is quality. And I come here to talk about quality because unless we can produce the best quality in the world, we are going to be sidelined, marginalised by much bigger producers.
And that's it for KTN Business. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. Coming up next is Willis, the word master. And Willis, if you can, tell us the pronunciation. Is it cider? Is it cider? What exactly is it? We'd like to hear from you on that pronunciation right there. But over to you, Betty, who's going to be back talking to Willis, the word master.
All right, time for Mind Your Language with none other than Willis, the word master. Willis, how are you this evening? I'm not too far away from Kisumu County. We are in Bungoma County.
Betty, I've seen you in Bungoma County, and things look good right there. Kisumu is somehow hot for tonight, but not very bad. Otherwise, how have you been?
I'm great. Thank you so much, Willis, for asking. All right, so how about we start with our word on the street? How about we get straight into it?
Digits. Fere digits. Fagitis. Fagitis. Yeah. Fagitis.
Pharyngitis. Pharyngitis. Pharyngitis.
Pharyngitis. Pharyngitis. Pharyngitis. Pharyngitis. Pharyngitis. Fere digits. Fere digits.
Well, Betty, I hope you've caught that.
Interesting pronunciations, Willis.
Yes.
But what's the correct one?
Well, Betty, we say pharyngitis. Pharyngitis. Okay. We don't say pharyngitis. I've had something a bit funny, but sometimes English can be a bit tricky or frustrating when it comes to pronunciations, but it's a matter of trying. So we say pharyngitis, not pharyngitis, not pharyngitis, yes, and all that. Remember, we also say laryngitis, laryngitis, and meningitis, okay, not meningitis.
Okay. Okay. Meningitis. Got it, Willis. All right, so take us through the other words, Willis. What do you have up your sleeves?
Oh, so you've handed over to me from Kisumu so that I take our dear viewers through what we have for them tonight?
Yes, Willis.
Okay, Betty. Now, I'll start with the first word. The first word, and today I have then to display the words because of the technical, hitches here and there. So this word we say resource, but you can also say resource. So, resource and source are acceptable. Resource and resource. And then when we talk about support or protection of somebody or an organization, Betty, we have this word which is very tricky. That is A-E-G-I-S. You say aegis, aegis. Under the aegis of so and so or such an organization, aegis. And our next word, Betty, is also tricky, and many people would pronounce it in different ways. That is O-L-I-G-A-R-C-H-Y. You say oligarchy. Oligarchy.
Okay.
We also have oligarch, but we say oligarchy. What we should avoid is oligarchy, oligarchy. You say oligarchy, oligarchy.
Oligarchy.
And then we also have a word. Betty, you must have heard many people talking of dynasty. Dynasty. Some may even say dynasty before they are told which way to pronounce such a word. We say dynasty, dynasty. Then when things or something like maybe a vehicle or a truck, I know it is a surprise, Betty, that is dynasty, but I'm now talking about K-A-P-U-T, when something is not, in correct, order and all that. We say kaput, kaput. The car is kaput, not kapat, kaput. It's an informal word and a bit tricky. Don't say kapat. The car is kaput, Betty. Then we have the other word that is I-M-P-E-T-U-S. Many people say impetus because of that letter E. But letter E takes the short or pure vowel sound E. Impetus. Impetus. That must be a surprise, Betty, not impetus,
that is.
the way we commonly say locally. And when we talk of recovering, that is to recover, like somebody is sick, maybe admitted in hospital. In fact, this word is also sometimes tricky, and we say recuperate, recuperate. But you can also say Q, recuperate. So those are alternative pronunciations. Recuperate and recuperate. Sometimes some of these words, somebody tells you this is the way to say it, and don't say this, and sometimes we may not be aware of the alternative pronunciation of certain English words. Then, Betty, we have a word which, is disturbing one of the very, ardent fans of Friday Briefing, and especially pronunciations. This is John Bunei of Dhika. He is asking how to pronounce this word. One thing that you should be aware of is we have a primary stress on the second syllable. You say mellifluous, mellifluous, not mellifluous. Mellifluous, mellifluous. So John Bunei of Dhika and all those who love good or acceptable pronunciations, you should remember that. Then we have John Ondiech. You say goat, goat, G-O-A-T, goat. Don't say got. Got is G-O-T. The past tense of get is got, G-O-T. But G-O-A-T, that is the animal, you say goat, goat. Then Sami Mwada, you say indefatigable, indefatigable. Don't say indefatigable, indefatigable, indefatigable with that stress. So Sami Mwada should get that. Lucy Ndigide, you say flower, flower. unga, flour, F-L-O-U-R, flour. Don't say flour or flour as commonly said locally. Then Eddie Mokola, say brochure, brochure, or brochure. Don't say brochure. Nancy Ouma, say impetuous, impetuous, not impetus. Impetuous. That is when we talk of, being always in a hurry. I-M-P-E-T-U-O-U-S. Impetuous. Choice, not to us or tas. And then we come, Betty, to our surprise word for tonight. And this one I know. It's a common word locally, but many people talk of dosia and some say dosia. That is wrong. When we are talking about a collection of important or crucial information about or on somebody or something, don't talk of a dossier or dossier. You say dossier, dossier, or dossier. The dossier. To compile a dossier, not dossier or dossier. That is the surprise word for tonight, Betty. Have you had dossier or dossier?
I've had so many variations of that word. I'm happy that you've tackled it tonight.
Well, it happens, Betty, as I always say, let English be English, let Kiswahili be Kiswahili, and any other language. The importance or essence of any language on earth is communication, Betty. But grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation, very crucial. Now, we have two words here. One is about an amount of something like medicine, or when we talk of a drug. That is, the amount that is taken at a time. So D-O-S-E, don't say a dose. Z, no. Say dose. A dose of the drug. A dose. Dose. With what we call the voiceless sound, s, dose. But the lower word, Betty, you say now doze. That is a verb. That is to sleep slightly, usually for a short time. You say to doze. Doze. That is D-O-Z-E.
Doze.
And that is all from Kisumu for tonight, Betty.
Interesting, Willis. Thank you so much for those words. Of course, Friday Briefing is a class on its own. Mind your language there. Willis, the word master. Remember that you can catch him on his Twitter handle at Willis Ochieng1. Right, Willis?
Thank you, Betty, and it's always my pleasure being here because, getting it right when it comes to pronunciations is a way of ensuring that you deliver intended messages clearly, especially in careers of serious communication. I would repeat, at Willis Ochieng1. That is on Twitter.
1. Okay. All right. Willis, the word master there, saying deliver and not deliver. That's why we wrap up Mind Your Language tonight. Remember, you can talk to him on that Twitter handle at Willis Ochieng1, or you can just wait for next Friday when we're going to have him here on Friday Brief. All right, now Kenya is seeking to win her first ever medal at the Karate World Championships in this year's edition of the event that will take place in Linz, Austria. The team, which departs the country on the 22nd of October, will be out to also secure a ticket for the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, Japan. Robinson Kenya has the details.
Over the last 6 years since Kenya first took part in the World Championships in karate, no Kenyan has ever bagged a medal in the martial arts sport. Kenya will be taking part in a second World Championship this year after missing out on the Germany edition in 2014. This year the team is hungry for better results.
We are very optimistic in young blood, and they have a lot to show in future. So it's the best chance that we are going to field best new team we've ever fielded.
Some of them, they have played the international tournaments. Some of them, they are upcoming karatekas. I know they are going to do well. They have that experience, and I know they can perform very well.
Despite a one-year absence from the games, the team is buoyed by their performances in African Championships in Senegal, where Kenya collected a total of 5 medals. Better point accumulation in Austria will see a number of karatekas take part in Tokyo Olympics in 2020.
We also want to make sure that we also perform to our level best. That's why our coaches
are doing our best so that we actually bring something.
Mwaka tuko na matumaini kwa sababu sai tumetrain vizuri, tuko na hakika tutarudi na medal.
Head coach Boni Owiti is optimistic of his young side matching the challenges mounted by developed countries in terms of facilities.
We have challenges. We are not like the other country which are well developed about sports, but how is the young and the generation that we are trying our level best to cope with them the standard of the karate in Africa, Hawaii.
The team is expected to depart the country on 22nd of October for the championship, which begin on 25th October. The challenge ahead is greater, but the determination is even in equal measure as the Kenyan team seeks better performances at this year's World Championships in Austria. Robinson Okenye, KTN Sports.
All right, now the local organizing committee of Stanchart Marathon received sponsorship amounting to 150 million on Friday from 14 companies, including the title sponsors Standard Chartered Bank. About 30,000 participants are expected to grace the marathon, which will be held on the 30th of October. Los Angeles Marathon champions Walden Curie is among the elite athletes who will take part. Others are seasoned long-distance runners Kenneth Rotich and Nicholas Correa, who will battle out in the men's 42-kilometer race. Standard Chartered Bank CEO Lamin Manjang said that they target to raise 75 million shillings, up from 14 million shillings realized last year.
We've already registered quite a number of runners. We reopened the registration. That's then officially closing this Sunday because we got a lot of feedback from participants who still wanted a chance to register.
Other than the sort of the manual way where you can examine an eyesight, you know those things where you say whether it's a letter A or B or H or whatever, you do it sort of from a distance, you actually use it from your device. And that device, because it's a mobile phone, you can actually now use it more widely. So the plan is to train teachers who will then be able to do the examination in classrooms, and through that be able to detect any child that has an eye problem, potential eye problem.
So we'll be ready to work together. We'll be ready to improve this. We'll be ready to see that more runners come to support Standard Chartered because of what you have done.
I still have Governor Kenneth Lusaka. Thank you so much for staying with us. I know it's late. So talk to us about the investment conference that is going to be taking place here in a few days.
We have our International Investment Conference running from 26th to 28th.
Okay.
We are expecting very many investors to come. Of course, the people of Bungoma have been asking why we have never held an investment conference because other counties have held theirs. And we're saying we don't just want to hold an investment conference for the sake of it. But we think that now this is the right time because we've put in place what it takes to attract investors. And one of the aspects is, of course, we are improving on our infrastructure. And we're looking forward to having our, like I mentioned earlier, the road between Chwele, Luahaha, which will be connecting, it will be a shortcut to Uganda and Southern Sudan. So if we have any investors coming because of our strategic geographical location, that will be very good. Then we also have our airstrip both in Bungoma and Webuye. We'll be looking forward to getting investors who can boost that because as it is now, you take 30 minutes from Nairobi to Eldoret or Kisumu and take 3 hours to get to Bungoma. So with one flights to come straight to, say, Webuye or Bungoma. We're also looking at our agricultural potential. Remember I talked about value addition and the whole value chain in our agricultural sector. We want to have investors who can come and support us in that venture. We're also looking at health. We have a referral hospital which was built in 1952.
Yes.
So because of the population, obviously it is outstretched.
Yes.
So we're also looking forward to having investors who can come and put up a new referral hospital. We have the equipment, we have the machines, we have the personnel, but again, we are so squeezed. So we will be inviting our investors to come, and we are hoping that we've invited the Deputy President to be the guest of honor. And we are hoping that we're looking forward to getting so many investors.
Okay.
We are telling them that Bungoma is the destination, this is the place to be.
Okay.
Come and invest, and you'll never regret the investments that you put in our county.
All right. Let's see if that comes to fruition. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it will, of course. Yeah, we put everything in place to ensure that it becomes a real success.
All right, Governor Kenneth Lusaka, Governor Bungoma County, thank you for your time and thank you for hosting us in your county.
You're most welcome.
All right, so that's why we wrap up things here on Friday Briefing. Thank you so much for watching. I'm seeing quite a number of tweets. Keep the conversation going online. And of course, we see you again next week, God willing. And stay safe. Yeah, they should stay safe.
Yeah. I can assure them of that. Yeah. Eat ingoho here and there, bananas, matoke, ugali, busuma, and all that. There's a lot of that.
Okay, like the busuma and ingoho.
Yes.
All right. That's a proper combination.
Yes.
Historical, yeah. Okay.
Right,
all right. Goodbye. Thank you so much for watching.